And Danger Boy does it! Second win on the year! Cooper Webb wins! We are tied at the top of this championship!
Yes, back again. Happy Monday, everybody. Filming a little bit later here today for Title 24 presented by NBC Sports. As you guys know, I'm Ricky Carmichael, got the best co-host in the business with Ryan Villopoto. That guy has been a man on a mission. We're going to get a quick rundown from him before we get going. Thanks, United Motorsports, Quad Lock Case, Boxo USA, Dunlop Tires. We appreciate all of you guys and the great support. We got a special guest today, a little later on in the show, so stick around and listen to that. I guarantee you will be happy and interested in what he has to say. He's this week's past Supercross winner at Foxborough. Cooper Webb, this will be his first time, I believe, on Title 24. So he has been kind enough to donate his time. So that's why we're recording a little bit later, but I'm excited to have Coop on, not only to ask a few questions for all of you guys, all of our listeners and viewers, but just in general to have good fun with him. So that will be a little bit later on in the show. So cracking right into it. RV, just to give everyone a rundown, dude, you literally just got to your house from COTA. How was it?
I did, yeah. I just landed. It's been a long 5 days. I actually went on Wednesday, dude, and got the full experience. It's an amazing sport. It's unreal how, even coming from the levels of racing that me and you have raced at, we were just talking about it, and it's some high level, really, really cool racing. So I enjoyed my time, the 5 days there, all of it.
Hey, Glenn Freeboth was asking, how'd you like your mini moto experience?
Yeah, it was really cool. We went out and rode these bikes called an Vialle, and they're a little Italian motorcycle. I put them up against like a TTR 110 or Yamaha 110 or any of the 110 bikes that are out there. Very sizable, just like that, but a lot of fun. I was able to get my knee on the ground a little bit the second time out. So
yeah.
But yeah, they were a blast. I'm gonna try to get the boys on them and see how they like it.
Obviously, it was slammed, huh?
It was a really packed race from what I thought, and I got to go through, obviously Yamaha Factory Racing's garage, which was insane. Also popped my head in the Ducati garage too, and man, just that's when you really get to see when the body is off those motorcycles how impressive and state of the art these motorcycles are. I mean, I think. Also, I just asked my kid. I was on the phone with Gage, and he's like, "Hey, how fast do they go? What's the speeds?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I looked over at Randy Mamola, and I'm like, "I don't know, 220." And I think he said KTM just hit like 217, I believe. I don't know what track, but it's a great form of racing,
dude. Hey, plenty fast enough with no roll cage around you. That's for sure.
That's right. No, it's insane, dude. It really is.
Hey, it's been a hell of a season for Monster Energy Supercross. We've had some great topics to talk about all season long, and there's only 4 races left. Jett Lawrence has lost 16 points in the last 2 races. I know you watched and caught up with the results from Foxborough. We'll talk to the winner of that with Cooper Webb a little bit later. But before we get into our deep dive with the 450 class, your thoughts on Foxborough as a whole and what you thought of that weekend?
I mean, you couldn't ask for any more as a fan, right? We're going in, like you said, with 4 rounds left, and we have a tied point situation. Mm-hmm. Coop rode one great race, put himself in a great position, as we saw. We'll get into it more, but with Jett's, really the start wasn't there. It put himself in a very vulnerable spot, being that he only had eight points coming in, and now we're sitting tied. So it's really interesting. It's going to be an amazing finish to the series.
Yeah. Did you know that there was supposed to be a lot of weather coming in, and it rained a bunch Friday. Like, it was super damp. SMX Track Crew had it covered like they have been. Seems like that's been the way it has been majority of the outdoor events this year. But did you feel like, based on what you saw from the race, you feel like the track shaped up pretty good for as much rain as they had, or how it was supposed to be, how the forecast was supposed to be?
Yeah, Yeah, honestly, I looked at it and watched the builds happen through Corey's Instagram over there at SMX tracks, and dude, it was wet. They had the track covered, and then and seeing practice photos and video of guys that lost it and kind of jumped off the berm and landed.
Mhm.
In, like I think I saw Gavin Towers do that in the Futures class.
Yep.
Practice.
Yep.
And just sink the bike, lose the bike, get a piece of equipment to get it out. So
Hammaker did it too.
Yeah, Hammaker too. I saw, so for the track to be as dry as it was in the end, like, I mean, I thought they were great. It promoted good racing conditions too, very technical, but it also had cushion for the guys to go to that wanted to kind of ride those outsides.
Yep. Yeah. I thought it was a great racetrack too. I actually thought that it was a little bit better in practice because it was a little bit ruddier. Guys were doing different variations, different combos in the rhythm sections. And I'm like, oh man, after qualifying practice, I'm like, this thing's going to be awesome. But because of the great work that the track crew did, it got to where there's more of a dominant line for everyone. I felt like it didn't have quite as many options, but they were working as hard as they could, to make it a great racetrack, which they did, but it took a little bit of the option out, like how it was in practice. That was that question was from S Reets 711. Dude, United Motorsports moment of the week, just an incredible win by Cooper Webb. He ties up the points because of that. If you guys haven't been over and checked out United Motorsports, go over there. Your initial sign up, you get $15 towards your purchase, and every week they're picking a lucky winner. So make sure you check them out. Everyone likes a little discount and a credit, if you will. So get after it. Do it, and thanks United Motorsports for all your support. If you're in the Kentucky, Ohio region, check them out. But so you look at Cooper Webb. How do you think, from your expertise analysis, dude, like how do you do it? Walk us through it, bro.
I mean, look, I think he was coming down to the end of this series, so he had to make something happen. And I think he was one that mentioned, the start is it like more of a starting race, starting game. More now than it ever has been. And look, it worked into his favor. Yeah, Eli got a phenomenal start. Coop, and I just think that he showed up ready to go. Like Coop's a gamer, right? That's where I think the difference is, not difference between Jett, but I think that Coop knew he had to make something happen, and he's good kind of with his back against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, and he executed a great start there. And I feel like when I was watching him RV, and he did it in I think it was the second or the last final time qualifying practice, he came out and put in a ton of, may have been the first one, I can't remember, but he came out and he was super aggressive. Like, it seems like he's making a concerted effort to come out and put a bunch of fast laps in early rather than taking a few laps and warming up and all that stuff. So you could see that the intensity was there. And then, of course, the starts were there. But a lot like you said, I mean, his back's against the wall at this stage, and he has no other chance. And you said, like, he's going to have to win. He's going to have to beat Jett for sure. So it was Webb versus Sexton on the last lap. And you know what, was there ever a point in time that you thought that maybe the one had something to beat Cooper, or no?
Well, I mean, look, he bridged the gap to him really, really nicely. He rode a good main, obviously big mistake right there. What we're watching on the replay. I don't still think that if that mistake wouldn't have happened, do I think he would have got him? I think Chase takes too long to pass riders, and that's what we saw with Kenny too. If he would have been able to get through Kenny much quicker than he did already, he might have, he would have put himself in a better position to have more time to work on him if he needs to take that much time to pass somebody. And then let alone, that's Kenny. Try to pass Coop. Coop, I think, is on that next kind of level there, where you're not going to pass him. So I hate to say it, but let's we don't want to have another Dungey out there, that takes a long time to pass, No,
yeah,
I'm joking. Well, but that was one of Dungey's I think faults at me racing with him, is he took too long to pass, too conservative. So
yeah,
I
mean,
a little bit of that from Chase.
100%. I said it on the broadcast, and I got like, he needed to make that pass straight up probably 5 laps before that. And I understand like him and Kenny are friends, and I'm guessing, so maybe he was being a little bit nicer to him because of that. But I saw like, and I was talking to one of the KTM guys, like I saw several instances where he could have been a little more aggressive with the pass to get by. And it was, as we're watching, this is when Sexton was behind Kenny, but it was where I noticed it was like coming right here. He could have darted to the inside, made a move, and especially right after this on off, had he gotten a better run right there, he could have made a move. But I liked, like, he should have set him up right in that corner before the stand. I think he could have taken a wider entry and cut down. Right here was another area that 180 after the first rhythm lane. He looked like he was eyeing him up, and I'm in the booth. I'm like, oh, he's gonna get him. He's gonna get him, and he never really pulled the trigger. And I think to what you're saying exactly, he just waited way too long, and it costed him the win. A 100%. I don't care what anybody.
Yeah, right? No, I 100% agree, Ricky. And that's the thing, like, especially when you catch somebody fairly quick, you need to capitalize on that speed that you have, that closing rate on him, so that he doesn't know where you're fast at. Where can he block the line? Where is it getting, a little bit louder? Like Chase right there, almost jumping off the track. Like right there, I felt like he could have forced the issue, but he didn't. That was his moment, but that was after, and then finally he does get by him. But I like Chase's lines through this whole center part of the track. He was working the outsides more, than I think than a lot of guys have been, especially this season. Giving himself that opportunity to hopefully find a hole.
So Webb beats Roxon and Sexton straight up. Okay. And Danny Bolton, he a loyal listener and watcher of Title 24, asked where do you think Coop's better right now? Because he had the fastest lap in the main event, by the way. I know he had a clear track, but before, even when he's won, I don't believe he's been the fastest guy on the track. So like what's he doing? Is he just riding perfectly, or like why is he so much better? Is it just because he's a gamer?
Well, I think like I'd mentioned his back against the wall. I think I was a lot like him in the sense, like, I wasn't going to go any faster than I had to. And like, I think he's tried some different scenarios. They're like, starting off the season a little bit slower and like, he hasn't been like his middle and beginning wasn't very strong. And now it's like, dude, to make these points up, to be in the position that he's in, I think you're also just seeing that confidence level rise, and he's riding a lot better, which is he's a little bit quicker. Like, he's made up those 2-3 tenths in spots where that Jett has had on the whole field, most of the series so far. So I thought that night, Saturday night when we were watching it, it was he made that difference up, and I feel like now it's going to be really interesting to see what happens these next 4 races. Can he sustain that? We have looking at the points right now, 261. We're tied 261. Chase is 15 down. So, I mean, like I said, it's a two horse race right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Jett or you're Cooper, I mean, you're wanting Sexton to get in between there and build a gap in the points. Hey, with Coop tying it up, like at this stage in the game, do you feel like in playing the mental card here, do you feel like that because he tied it up and he's doing so well and Jett has been struggling, you feel like there's a chance that he may be in Jett's head or not?
Yeah, so I like that. If I'm Coop, if you ask me which position would I rather be in, I think that I'd rather be in Coop's position. You have made those points up. And then you have Jett that was leading. So now he's thinking in his head, like, man, I've lost all these points. So I just think it's a better position to be in. And Jett's going to have to ride, nearly perfect and not put himself in these positions anymore to beat a guy like Coop, because this is Coop's strongest. I think this is one of his strongest things he has to offer. And I also don't think Jett has raced anybody like this, like with the confidence and how Coop is a bulldog, in the end.
Hey, that thanks Josh Reynolds for that question. For this next one, I'd like to answer this one. Comes from Haiden. Does Cooper feel more pressure now that the points are tied? And I personally don't feel like, and it's basically copying exactly what you just said. I don't think that there's always pressure to win, but I don't feel like Cooper is feeling the pressure like Jett is. And the reason that I say that, number one, he's been in this position. He knows what it takes. I feel like the more years you get under your belt and you're a veteran and you've done this before, it's not necessarily about pressure. It's just making sure you go out there and do everything you know what you need to do to win the damn championship. And I feel like that's why I feel like Cooper doesn't have any pressure, or doesn't have the pressure that Jett does. So I mean, that's what I think. I think it was basically Jett's to lose, and he's lost a lot. And quite frankly, other than Coop and his loyal fans, I don't know that anyone thought that he would be done as well as he has. Dude, he's won 4 races.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also back to that, it's like it's familiar. Like, he's not that Jett hasn't won his championships before, and on the other side of the pond, and a bunch here already, and 22-0. But I think if Jett fans and myself, and maybe even you, Ricky, like we know there's a lot that can happen, but like when he was sitting 21 points ahead, I'm like, dude, I'm thinking this could be over,
I was
consistent, he's going to win 3 or 4 more races type thing. That's what I kind of thought. I had, but I also had hopes for the other guys to bridge that gap, just like we saw the Barcia and Jett incident. That's what I think really snowballed what we're kind of seeing too, because going from the points gap that he had down to 8, and it puts, it does put more pressure on you, because when you go to the race, you're like, man, I need to clean my game up.
So I think there's so much speculation. We can sit here and try to guess who's going to win Nashville and who's going to win Philly and Denver and Salt Lake. And I've gotten to the point this year, RV, where I'm just going to sit back and let it play out. Because if I can make a fair argument for Coop, I can make a fair argument for Jett, I can make a fair argument for Sexton. Those 3 front runner guys, both of why they could win, and I could also argue why maybe they won't win. I think all 3 of those guys have a fair argument on both sides of the aisle, I feel like. And
I agree.
Hey, Gypsy Tales. Appreciate the love, Gypsy. He asks, does Cooper's performance this season make him one of the best Supercross racers ever?
I mean, I would delete the ever part, but it makes him one of the best, Supercross racers to ever do it. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll be. I think when he is done, we don't know exactly, right? But I think he'll go down in the record books, and Hall of Famer, when his time comes up.
Moving over to Jett, let's break down his stuff, since we talked about the winner already for a Boxo breakdown. If you haven't, go to boxousa.com, and they got some great stuff on site. They got a whole bunch of things. You got the moto box you can buy, 3 drawer, 5 drawer. 5 drawer is nice because you get an extra drawer. But go check them out, boxousa.com. Getting into that, Ryder Green, hey, do you think the Yamaha team planned to try to punch Jett off by lining up next to him? Do you think there's any strategy there?
No, I mean, look, I think knowing the way Coop is, I think that might have been, one of his little, call it head games. It very well could have been a very good rut too. And he's like, you know what? It's right next to Jett. And he goes, I'm going to go right next to him. I'm not going to do anything in particular other than line up next to him. And sometimes that can rattle a guy just enough to get his jump off.
Right. DP Gill, if Jett doesn't get the best gate pick, is his formula less effective of whole shot and control? I don't.
So gate pick. I'm maybe start.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if Jett doesn't get the best gate pick, is his formula less effective of whole shot and control? So I guess.
I mean, anytime you pull the whole shot, you control the race, and especially somebody in his position, like, it's, unless a mistake comes from him. We have not seen him get caught and passed. So yeah, it works. But anytime you start as far back in the field as you did with this field that we have right now, you're not going to come back to the front and win the race. Now back to the podium, that's what you ultimately hope.
Yeah. Do you think that did you see a couple times Jett was turning down early? Did you see where he turned down early in front of Eli after the whoop section right there?
Right here.
Like right there. That was great heads up riding by Eli. I think Eli probably anticipated that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the first time that we're seeing, like, not first time, but like the more and more these guys race Jett and he's back with these guys, they're like, they don't have a lot of time around him. Like Eli has around maybe Chase or, some of the other riders, Kenny, for example, like they've been racing each other for a very long time. And how somebody races.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly kind of how where somebody's going to go, where they enter the turn, where they're going to exit, because you spend so many laps around them in those scenarios. I think they're going to get better at the heads up riding part.
Yep. I agree with you. And they're going to know, like, so what
that's
you're
what
saying,
Jett's
RV.
good at. So you better be ready for it now. Like he does it a lot, so that's something that Eli would have in, say, another 30 races, be like, okay, well, I got to put myself on the outside of him just a little bit so that it doesn't come down in front of me.
Right. Hey, tons of fan questions this week, obviously, about the drama and just what went down. But I wanted to ask you this, and Jason Thomas, our on track analyst, he was talking about on the Pulp MX recap pod. And he's like, okay, who would you rather be right now? And I'd like to ask you this. In this position, would you rather be a guy like Cooper Webb, who has the experience, who is steady, solid as a rock, really good at the end of the races when the track is completely torched? Or would you rather be a guy like Jett Lawrence, who has speed on his side and you have basically everything, just not the experience of winning a premier class Supercross championship? Like, who would you rather be in this situation?
I mean, I
both guys.
Yeah, both guys. I mean, they're both really good, great, so I think right now, like I had mentioned, I would rather be sitting kind of in Coop's position where I've closed these gaps. A little bit of luck has been with, like I said, the Barsha and the Jett incident. That was call it a little bit of luck on his part, or in the situation, really getting a big chunk taken out of the points there on Jett, and then obviously this start. So we know they're both decent starters, but I think that where Jett's at or where Cooper is at right now, or Coop is, I think that that's where I would rather be. I feel like, especially also, like I mentioned, him being the dog's backed into the corner and he's going to get aggressive. That's that's where the longevity, the maturity, and the veteran comes out. This position's familiar for him.
Yeah, definitely. Like if 100%, he knows exactly what to expect. He's been in this situation before. And I go back to like my days, like of that year that Reedy was so much faster than me in 2003 towards the end. I was lacking speed, but I felt like I was a little more solid. Definitely at the beginning of the series, that's how I was able to win, because I made less mistakes at the beginning and built a 25-point lead. Yeah. And a lot like towards the end. So being in that situation where Stu was faster than me, there's no shot I'm going to beat him, like just lap for lap on who is faster. The guy 100%, he was faster than me. But to what you are saying, RV, I liked, my experience in the series, and I knew that I was going to be rock solid. I knew I wasn't going to ride over the edge, and I just, like, I was so in tune, and you lean on all that experience. So although I would love to have the speed, I like Cooper's position because of everything that you mentioned. And yes, Jett is fast and he's talented and he's going to win a lot of championships and races. Like, I know we're like we're not necessarily beating him up on here, but we're being critical of him.
We are, but yeah, we are. And I think also too, he is the most mature and veteran rider at such a young age that we've seen in this 450 class maybe ever. So, you know, like you said, we're not taking nothing away from him. We're being critical on him.
Yeah.
And we've been in these positions. We were the rookie, and we also were guys that have been there for for a handful of years, and know what the feeling is.
Yeah. Hey, talking to like Chase, you talked about it a little bit. You think he wins? Amy Ertel asked, do you think that he wins if he gets by Kenny, say 5 laps earlier?
I don't know. I don't think
so. Hard, right?
Here's the other reason why I don't think he wins, because Kenny does make moves back by, but Coop's another thing he's very, very strong at is coming back and striking back right after he's gotten past. Before the guy in front that made the pass can get into a little bit of a groove or get a gap on him, like he strikes back right away. And then that a lot of times throws that rider off, that made the pass initially. So I don't think he was going to get through Coop at all. But I think he potentially could have bridged that gap if he could have got closer, and that doesn't say that, Coop doesn't make a mistake as if Chase puts pressure on him and then he, passes him and wins the race that way. But
I think like I was talking with one of the team members, one of the race teams, and we were talking about like, why did he wait so long? Talking about Chase, and he knew that like Kenny and him are buddies. Maybe he was showing, just being easy on him. But dude, so I was telling him like, if you and I were teammates, and or like what I was telling him, like if me and Ivan were teammates, dude, and I'm trying to get by him, and like I'm not asking him to move over, but if 1 or 2 laps go by and he's holding me up, he's getting the business, dude, because like you're a dog, dude. You're gonna rough a dude up to get by him, because you know that you can't let this guy ruin your chances of winning. You know how precious those points are, and I would have moved him out of the way 100% sure. Get uncomfortable, make the move, and then it's over.
Yeah, you got to make those moves quick, especially like I said, when he bridged that gap, it happened fairly. It wasn't like it took him laps after laps after laps to finally get to him. So he had a little speed on him, and that's when you got to make that move right away. Is once you bridge that gap, like right away, so they don't learn where you're going if you're on the outside here and the inside here on the track. Yeah,
it's just like, dude, you leave the door cracked and your dog runs outside. Like they're just waiting, they're just waiting. They're lurking, like if that door cracks open, I'm gone. Right. Yeah, and it's the same, dude. It's the same thing, right? It's that same mentality. Do you think, with Jett, or pardon me, Anderson being in front of Jett in the last lap, do you think because Jett was behind him, he fought any harder for that position? We're watching here. This is going to be the last lap for Jett and Anderson, and I thought that Jett was going to get him. He came up a little bit short. He made a really nice move before the finish line. But do you think that Anderson raced a little bit harder because it was Jett, or you just think Anderson rode hard because, dude, he wants to do well?
I think it's both. I think he knows right now while watching the replay that it is Jett behind him, and he's like, dude, I'm not letting this guy pass me. And I also think that that's a lot of his riding style too. Like he'll give you a fight. It might not be very long. Jason has that tendency to, like, if he isn't not having the best night and guys are coming through him, like I've seen him fight like this for that last spot, being that we're closing down on the last lap. Like
what do you do right here? What would you have done?
I think that Jett needed to go in front of him quicker. Like he was trying to be nice about it and not get out there. Like not teed him up, but just when he started to rotate the motorcycle, have it go straight out a little bit more, so that when Jason came around the turn and actually got the bike turned and he's looking up, he sees a red motorcycle in front of him. Yeah. That doesn't mean that Jason wouldn't have been able to stop, but if you're trying to make that move, I know it was a fast section there. That was a big berm, that you're able to kind of get into and come out pretty fast. So I just think he needed to get the bike out in front of him sooner, if that was the objective.
Yeah, so explain right here. We're watching a replay. So tell me what right here. Go.
Yeah, let's see. Like spins it right and go farther out. And the radius that he spun around, not as tight. So sweep it out longer. You can see where the rear tire spins. He kind of turned it around like I turned the bike around. Boom, and go out a little bit closer to him.
Yeah.
If he was going to try that, right? Maybe it was. Right. Maybe he, from his point of view, he didn't have that option, and that was the right move.
It was a hell of a try. Yeah. I thought it was pretty good.
It was close.
Yeah, it was close, and and
that would have been another point, right? We wouldn't be tied right now, and who knows, that position right there could come down to change the result in the end.
It could. That's why I said, dude, I'm done speculating who I think is going to win. Again, we've both made fair points and arguments for all three riders. I think Sexton's there lurking. It's going to take a lot for him to win for sure, but obviously mathematically he's not out of it, and there are a couple guys, but at this level it's going to be tough for anyone outside of those three guys to really make it happen. So it's going to be fun. It's just sit back and watch, and you just this is one of those years of you just sit back, watch, let it play out, and then expect the unexpected. It's like I literally every time I'm up in the booth, RV, I'm like, what is going to happen? Like, you think everything's good, then you hear the fan react, and then boom, they go to the cameras, and like somebody's laid out or down or having an issue. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be fun.
We can't predict anything, and that's what's so awesome about the racing right now. There's nothing short to talk about,
dude. Totally. So 250 class, finally, I feel like the ride that we saw Haiden do this weekend was certainly what I expected from him this season. It was it impressive? Yes, but again, that's where this is the guy that I was expecting all season minus the injury.
Yep. Yeah, no. I think we have all three. I think the top three that I will mention and talk about also is Haiden rode phenomenal, like you said. I also expected him to be further up the ladder, a little farther along than he is right now. This is the ride that I was expecting also. But also I want to mention Cameron also. This is, I think, a bigger race for Cameron than even Haiden, because in Cameron's position right now, points leader, knock on wood, hopefully it keeps going the way it's going, because I'd love to see him win a championship. This is something he struggled with, is dealing with like pressure and big crashes, or taking himself out of the series points. Right. So huge, big pass on Vialle right there, which is sitting second, and very consistent, smart, good ride. I don't want to say expect, but he has a tendency to make very big mistakes in these positions.
Yep. I agree with you 100%. What I like about Cameron, to expand on that, and the reason that I feel like you're explaining that to a T, is the reason he's not overriding like he's done in years past and got out of his comfort zone and just absolutely yard sailed. So yes, dude, he's happy. I'm not saying he's happy, but it's great that he takes these seconds. He lost minimal points. Yep. They have 3 rounds left. Nashville, it's a showdown. Salt Lake is a showdown. And so here's the points. Haiden is basically, he has to go out and win. He's going to need some help from the West Coast guys, or he's going to need some help from a guy like Pierce Brown, Cody Schock. Bennick's going to have to get in there and have like a 5.6, 7 point weekend while he's winning. And I just think outside of the showdowns, RV, I just it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Haiden.
Yep. No, I think it is. His goal right now should just be to win out, right? And where everything falls. But Cameron's been riding phenomenal. The consistency is great to see. And also Tom at only with his second season, right? Another super consistent ride, MXGP champ. So he's been in this position too, but like learning Supercross is quickly and I know he's rode it in the past. They tend to ride a little bit more than some other countries. He's picked it up very quickly, but you don't see the consistency so quickly in the 250 class. And then he's done another phenomenal job at that and staying in this title fight.
Yeah. Hey, I like this question. Josh Reynolds again. This is why you got the nod for this. So because he asked basically because Haiden rode so well, and basically you're riding like he should, and what we expect of him. Do you feel like now there might be a little bit more pressure on McAdoo for that, and where the points lies for the rest of the season?
I mean, as of right now, currently, yeah, anything can happen. But I'd be number one. He's got to worry about Tom because Tom's closest in points. So Haiden currently isn't really a target threat. Yes, do we have to keep him on our radar? Yes, but Tom is closer, right? So that's where no matter what, nobody in this position can afford a mistake. Haiden has to win out, and whatever happens. And Tom and Cameron also have to run three perfect races, essentially. There you
go.
We're sitting right here with like I said, Tom 4 points down and Haiden 13 down. So like you said, it's a couple of these other riders jumping up there. Dax has been riding well. Max was back in seventh, so hopefully we'll see he's somebody that can get in the middle of some of these guys up front there. So there's a handful back there.
The Hunter, yep, without a doubt. I like what you said, though. Everyone listening to this podcast or you're watching it, what RV said is like we're so caught up on and I was guilty of it just now, talking about like what happens is it like with Cameron, should he be worried about Haiden? And you're right. The closest guy is Tom Vialle, and the guy ain't no dude. He's legit 2-time world champ. He's riding exceptionally well this year. He hasn't made hardly any mistakes, and he even said on the podium, he's like he didn't feel good all day long. He wasn't vibing on the track. He just didn't have that feeling. So when RV, you know how it is, dude. When that would be a win for him. A
third would have been a win if he wasn't comfortable and didn't feel like he wanted to lay it out on the line and potentially lose a bunch. That's a win. Those are when we talk about Ricky, and then we've all talked about it, me and you. And you put yourself in those positions on bad days and still are on the podium. That's what you need. You have to stay on the podium regardless of what you're dealing with.
Yep. If third is all you got, and that's all he had, dude, he took his medicine and he got it done. And that's what you can't do. Is I talked to the futures guys, Supercross futures riders, at their little seminar that they do always on Fridays.
Oh, cool.
They have like different people from the media talk to them, sponsors, and they'll have like a featured rider. Kenny's done it a couple times. AC's done it. Have you ever done it?
I haven't done it. No.
Yeah. So they asked me, Harv Whipple asked me to do it for them, and I did it. And I was telling them like what you can't do and what all these guys are watching is if you don't take a third place and make it a seventh place. And that's exactly what Tom Vialle did.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Third's all I got today. That's all I got.
That's a perfect way to explain it. Don't take a third and make it a seventh.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's what will impress guys in this paddock and teams in this paddock more than, probably your third is just, you got third and you didn't over try. Nothing wrong with trying, but just get that thing to the finish line. So it's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited for the showdown. We'll talk about that. I think it's anybody's game there. But looking forward to Nashville. Let's roll that promo, Aaron. Here's what's on Motorsports on NBC. As always, this Thursday, 2 p.m., SMX Insider with Weege and JT. That'll be on YouTube. Check that out. I know they're going to have some pretty cool interviews. And then Saturday, 1:30, race day, live qualifying, 1:30 Eastern, that is. That'll be live on Peacock. And then the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship in Long Beach. It's a double header there. You got the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, 4:30 p.m. Eastern on USA. And then Sunday, the NTT Series is going to Long Beach Grand Prix. You should go check that out, RV, by the way.
That would be cool.
Yeah, go check it out.
Glen Helen racing that YZ250 for the Fast House boys and raffling it off on Sunday.
I love it. So you got that. And then, of course, Nashville, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Saturday. It's going to be epic. Nashville Supercross. I'm excited for it. Remember, that's with all the drama in the 450 class. The 250 class is going to be special. It's a showdown. So there's 2 more showdowns left. Again, it's Nashville and Salt Lake. So I think it's time we bring the guy in, Cooper Webb, winner of Foxborough. There's the man of the hour. What up, dude?
Oh, not much, man. Just a great Monday. Definitely after a night.
Like we're always giving each other crap. Was it a pressure-packed day today? Like, what'd you do? Like, just relive the win and just ease it on in, backed it on into a Monday, or what?
Yeah, man. We're back on the bicycle, back at the gym. We don't have the luxury like you to just roll out of bed and have the day off and everything like that.
I keep telling you. Hey, you got 3 more Supercross championships to live this life that I live, guy. Come on.
I'm trying to be like
a couple
you guys,
more.
Man.
Hey, RV's just as gnarly as I am, dude. That guy, hey, his race bonuses are way more than mine were, so he's in a lot better shape than me, guy.
Oh, man.
Maybe.
I'm kidding, Coop. Thanks for joining RV and I. I know you're always busy with other people doing stuff, and I know you have a busy schedule, and I know you had swim lessons with the little one, which, dude, I don't know. Do you really go and watch that straight up?
Yeah, man. It's
really,
as you guys know, you gotta be there, man.
Bro, I go to all that stuff, all the swim lessons, baseball practice, whatever it is. I'm
fully involved too, but like the swimming lessons was one of the things that got me. Because I called it controlled drowning is what I called it, dude. It's just like there was nothing fun about it the whole time, And these are little infants, like
last year we started, and when she was a baby, it was pretty nerve-wracking when they threw her in there the first few times. But now she's almost a year and a half. She's 2 almost, so she's learning to swim proper, and she loves it now. She can't wait to get in the pool. So it's been fun lately.
That's
hey,
awesome.
did you like the track this weekend, like from the get-go, or no?
Yeah, I actually did. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, we thought it was all going to be a mutter, which was nice that it wasn't. Thought layout was good. I think as I rewatched it, definitely a little maybe hard to pass in some spots, but I like the options, especially in the rhythm lanes. There was a lot of different options there. The one before the finish, there was 3 options. I thought the whoops were very raceable. I thought the track was a good track. It definitely dried out a lot, though. That kind of threw me off guard. When we've raced there before, it's usually softer, a little more ruddy. So when it was a little dry and slick, it was definitely a little bit off guard. But I thought overall it was good. Longer lap time too.
Did you ever triple out of that corner, like do the 3-3-1 before the finish ever?
Not the main event. No, I never did in the main event.
Oh, you did do it though.
Yeah, I did it in practice, just the 3N part, and then I felt like they changed it a little bit. The face in the night show got a little bit lower, and it was one of those things like, man, it was pretty big. I'm not gonna lie, and there was a little bit of room for error if you cased it, and then stuff like that. So I had a game plan like main event. If I knew Jett and Eli were doing it, and if they were ahead of me, I knew I was gonna have to do it. But luckily, put myself in a position to take the old reliable line,
Yeah, right. I never liked being put in that position with James. Like, sitting on the line. Yeah, maybe you jump the jump once or twice, 3 times in practice, and then this dude's gonna jump it, and if you do, you have to jump it. I'm assuming you don't like being in that position.
No, I don't. Jett's put us there a few times so far, so it's good for pushing the limits, but like you said, the risk versus reward sometimes, and I haven't rewatched the race yet, so I'm not sure. I saw he did it, there that last lap trying to pass Jason, but I don't think it was a line that he was taking, every single lap. It looked pretty difficult.
It was good. I like the way Dirtworks built it, because when you jumped the triple, like when you had to double into the turn, right? It wasn't a double into it was a double into. That was a nice big 5-footer. So it really you could see when you did the guys would do the chase, did it a few times, and was able to close up mid, and then you'd hit that the double, which would totally blow your speed coming into the turn, and then you couldn't make the pass.
Yeah, no, like I said, I thought it was a really good. Like for us, it's usually we're always hitting the same rhythm lines, and it's kind of who can scrub through it the hardest. To where this weekend, those back-to-back rhythms, especially the one with the tabletop lane too, there was options there. Yeah, I really enjoyed the track. I thought it was definitely raceable. And I know on the football floor, it's hard with the 90s to make them work, but I felt like even the one this weekend with that outside or having the roller was a good play for sure.
Hey, I was telling RV before we got you on earlier on when we were talking some stuff, and I felt like watching you guys in practice, Coop, that I thought that it had more options, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but I thought it had more options in practice than it did in the race. Is that true? And if so, why do you think?
I think it's tough now with the video that we have and the dartfish. I mean, it's
Totally
crazy. You know, I can know before I even line up for my second practice most of the time what the fastest way around the track is. So it's good and it's bad. You know, I think for me, it's easy if you're not picking up on something, you can watch it and learn. But if you do, if you have something, it's almost one of those things now where I think you kind of need to hold on to it until it matters. And I know, you know, like last year, I remember at Oakland, I had that line that I waited till the main event to do. It was like a quad over the table. And but like I said, Jett does that stuff all the time now, so it makes it tough. But I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is you see the guys that qualify well, and you go, okay, that's faster. Or hey, we can see it now on, especially with the dartfish, when you got the ghost and it pulls away from you, and you can see bike links. You go, okay, you know, there it is. And but yeah, I'm with you. It definitely changed, especially through practice. I thought the lines, like I said, were a little different. Some things were working for other guys, and then as the nighttime came around, I don't know if it just got a little drier or what, but it seemed like it kind of tightened up with what everyone was doing for sure.
You I was thinking of our conversation yesterday, but like, did you think when you first saw that first rhythm section, like, I don't know if you watched some of the other guys, dude, it was gnarly. Well, number one, your teammate had a gnarly get off. He had a hell of a finish too in the way.
Yeah.
Good job, Justin. Dude, that's to come back from that. He did a great job. But that thing was gnarly, that on off on that first section, bro. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I mean, it's like it was one of those where you're not thinking about it because you're a racer. But when you think back now, at least for me, you know, looking back, we were tripling onto that table on the left side. You know, you case that, it's not going to end well. And then I'm sure you saw, like with Justin's instance, you get in that pocket and you're carrying so much speed, and in a 450 main, the track goes away, they get kickers, and it's, yeah, you can see it right there. Like, there's nothing.
What happened there? Did he say what happened?
No, I think
did it have that gnarly of a transition?
It did and it didn't. I think that's what's tough. Like for us in the heat races, the track is deteriorating, but it's still pretty fresh, and it's like you're fighting that kind of in between stage. At least I felt like I was, because it looks like the track's really nice, and then you're kind of getting into those ruts from maybe earlier in the day, or you know, the soft spots that you can't really see sometimes. So that's why. I mean, I always enjoy the mains because they're rougher and, you know, everything's broken in by then, but you at least, it's more consistent by then. Even if they do some track prep, you kind of know the lines that are coming back. But yeah, it was definitely a tricky section, and it could go bad real quick.
Yeah, it looked gnarly. It looked to me like you just got a little bit of a kick or something. Like, but to your point of like how you jumped on there 3 and on, and that speed into the pocket there, you know, like if you go a little bit long, you know, like bottom of the suspension out, things like that, or if the dirt's a bit soft, those can be some scary moments.
Yeah, little stuff too. Like we were talking, like even just coming around for the first turn, you know, we saw all night, like having a plan for that first rhythm was huge. You know, I saw it especially in the 250 class. The guys would come out and not really know what they were doing, but we talked about like, hey, you need to go on the right side here, because then you can just go on, off, or whatever the case is, to where you could see some of the guys would come into that section, especially when your whole shot device is down. Like right here, you're like, what the heck should we do? And that right side seemed to work out pretty well. So just little stuff like that, or even in the heat race, like that same line that you just saw there, you're jumping that into ruts because they haven't fixed it. So you're hitting an on off with your whole shot device stuck. Like it's just little stuff like that as a racer and in the moment you don't think of. But now when I watch stuff back, I'm like, dang, man, it's crazy what we're able to honestly get away with sometimes.
Yeah. Cool.
Hey, is your boys still flaming me hard for calling it like, hey, Chase was gonna catch you? I never said pass you. They still giving me the business.
I'm sure, man. You gotta watch what you say.
I don't know,
if you're
dude.
on the web wagon, you're on.
Dude,
Either on or
they,
off.
they
Baby.
got rid of that graphic or logo. Aaron, we need to figure out, like, we need to tell the people on the bus to get it back going. But oh, dude, I was telling Coop RV on the way home. It's like, yeah, I was strolling through Ags and some dude's like, yeah, how about Sexton? You said, watch this, he's gonna catch him. Like, that's right. I said he's gonna catch him. I never said he's gonna pass him. So of course, yeah. Coop giving me a hard time for it. Hey, I wanted to ask you. That's right. Hey, I call it like I see it, bro. You might not like it, but I'm honest.
That's all right. At least you're honest. I'll take honesty all day.
Hey, when you're on the line like that, like you guys are getting ready and you don't have gate work to do anymore outside of picking the stuff, do you watch the 250 guys, like the main events and stuff?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. And you kind of watch throughout the day, but I like to watch a lot of that stuff, especially like we were alluding to earlier. It changes sometimes in the night show, maybe how they prep something or where the starts are coming from, little stuff like that, maybe some passing opportunities. So I'm usually.
I was just curious, like if it's a good battle, like if it's a good battle, I didn't know if you're like watching it and kind of it distracts you, takes your mind off of stuff, so you're not completely worried about the race that you have to race. And I like
it. Like, especially once we're on the gate, it actually makes it kind of nicer because then what kind of sucks for us is like we watch the beginning of the 250 and then we miss really a lot of it. And then we're down there for the gate. So by the time we get down there, sometimes you don't know what happened. Like for me, I didn't know Fortner crashed at Dallas. You miss some of those key highlights and you're like, whoa, what happened since I've come from the semi to the gate. So I like to watch that. And especially for me, I ride and train with all the Star Racing 250 boys. So like when they do good, feels good. You're even though it's different and separated, like it's kind of cool to see your training partners and buddies do well. So, it's cool.
Yeah, totally. I got a question for you, Coop. Obviously we know that Jett had a big points gap. Like I personally like your position. How do you see your position right now? Like, tied and not you're the one that's gaining the points and not losing, and we all know that you're a dog and you've been in this position before. It's very familiar for you. It's got to feel pretty good being in this position.
Oh, it does, man. Especially, 21 was way like in my mind, it was pretty far at that point, especially when you're racing Jett. And to be able to kind of bridge that gap in 3 races is huge. Granted, like I said, we had a few gifts, but like I said, and I've been saying and telling the team and telling the guys, like, I've been here and I know at some point over 17, you're going to have adversity, right? And he was able to click off those wins and really get the ball rolling. But as you guys know, even if you're on, you're always going to have something, whether it's a bad start or mechanical or a crash, anything. So I just kind of held on to that, knowing like, hey, I need to take advantage of his bad race. And I was able to do that, the last few weekends. So I think that's huge. And for me, I have always said it's more pressure being behind, right? Because then you have to go and perform. Now that at least we're back tied, it's in this position where, hey, it is mono-y-mono. But there's still 4 races, and you got to put yourself in good position over 4. So I like that. I love the position I'm in. To be in this position is awesome again, and especially after how last year kind of ended for me, it wasn't a great ending. So to be there, and especially against Jett, as we know, he's a generational talent, and kicked everybody's butt in outdoors. So it's good to just be in the fight, and especially this weekend. Like I thought for me, it was a huge momentum thing, like whole shot, lead every lap. I actually had the fastest lap in the main, which I was super stoked on. So we're getting where we need to be at the right time, right?
Yeah, totally. No, I think it's a great position to be in.
Do you think, like, do you ever sit back? I mean, or you just completely entrenched in the championship, which is totally understandable, but you're a 2-time Supercross champ at the premier level. And do you ever like think what's different outside of jet speed? And you've already talked about his accolades. Like, is there anything different in this championship fight so far compared to your first 2 that you won? Or is it all hard in its own way?
It's all hard in its own way, but to me, this championship has been completely different. I truly felt, and even last year, like I could have an off night and be third, and I could have a really off night and be fourth, or be fifth.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't have that. I mean, it's as simple as if you're getting a bad start, you might not even get back into the top 5. I feel like that's been the difference this year. I truly feel everyone is on top of their game. I know we always hype that up and we talk about it's the most stacked field and blah, 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 blah. But I truly feel that, I feel like Kenny's been on a mission this year. I feel like Eli, from his injury, I know he hadn't had the success he wanted, but racing him, I feel like he's the same Eli. I feel like obviously Jett has really stepped it up and made everyone step up. Chase is on it. Jason's on it. I mean, you can go on, and especially earlier in the season when everyone was kind of healthy and really felt like they were in the fight. I mean, it was no joke. And so I think that's what's been the hardest thing about it is there's been nights where I've ridden better than I have maybe all of 2021, and I got in 4th place, So I think that's, when you look back at it, that's been the tough thing. And I think when you look at, I look at stats a lot and just seeing, we're pretty low scoring points overall this year.
Yeah.
And if you look at the big picture, and I truly think that's why, there's been a lot of races where our managing nights are 5th, and that's it can be a big point swing when you have a 1st to 5th, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
Was that like you, RV? Did you ever have a season like that? Like I know for sure I didn't. Like where it was that deep. I mean, Coop, you've watched both of us growing up and all that stuff. I mean, it's no secret. If something fell, we fell down in the first turn. I mean, we're at least going to be on the podium. It just and it is, dude. It is stacked. All you guys are fast, 100%. That's myself personally. That's what I feel like it's pretty amazing what you have been able to do. And the other riders have done a great job. But being in those different championship situations and knowing what it takes, it's been pretty remarkable. But like RV, have you ever been to where you're in that position or no?
I think I don't think as deep as this. I think the deepest year for me, like I would say getting to a 5th, 4th or 5th. Nothing worse than that. I think it was myself, Dunge, James, Chad. Would have been
Kenny probably 14.
Yeah, it would have been probably the deepest. So 4 or 5 guys, and that's kind of I see. Now the difference is, I mean, you have like 12, 13 factory bikes out there, right? And they're all really good riders, Not that they weren't back in the day when I ride.
No, you guys are bad dudes. Don't put yourself in there.
Dude, Coop,
But,
I'm so pumped for you. Like, and I know you got a lot of criticism last year, and I don't want to go into a whole bunch of that crap. Just it's no one's business but yours. But I have to ask you this, and I've been curious, and I wanted to save this for when you would bless us with your time to come on this podcast. But I know you're one of the most confident dudes mentally out there, and I'll put you up against anyone in the field because of that. Are you surprised at how well you've done this year, or did you expect it to go as well because you had so much confidence in the program? I know you're confident in yourself, but the program in general. I
mean, I envisioned it, honestly. I I did, but it is when you look back at a whole, when you do make, and I'm sure it was like you when you made your change from Cowie to Honda and Honda to Suzuki, you have these envisions and these goals and you think you can do it, but it might not go that way, right? And I feel like for me, I was very confident in what I could do, but I was also very confident in this group of people. And I think for me last year, just racing Eli and seeing what I felt like sometimes what the bike could allow him to do, I just felt like, man, that's something that if I was able to get an opportunity there, that I'm going to make the most of it. And so I think for me, that was been a big thing, is just finding that comfort. And, it was something where I won a lot on the KTM too. It was no secret when the new bike came out, I definitely struggled a little bit more than the older platform, but I was also able to win on it. So I think for me, it was just as a whole, you take a big gamble, you take a risk leaving, established team that I've had a lot of success on to come to a team that I was on in the 250 class. So I did know it and I knew all the people. So it wasn't as big of a change as maybe like you did, RC, where maybe you don't know the guys. But to have it pay off and put this position, to have 4 race wins is awesome. To be at the red plate, like, it's pretty dang awesome. And especially, I did race a few outdoors last year, and just seeing the speed and how freaking good Jett Lawrence is, like, it's definitely a good feeling to be where I'm at, for sure.
Do you feel? I think you guys have stepped up your game. Like, I feel like you and like 4 other guys, and I've said this before on the podcast, and I think I've even said it on the broadcast as well, Coop. Like, I feel like you guys have more to gain and lose, or not more to gain by following a guy. Like, your level, like if Jett was here, you guys have gone here. It's going to be harder for him to get up there. And it was like, I was that way with Stu. Like, I think definitely he forced me and Reedy to go faster.
For sure.
I could feel my speeds get faster.
Yeah. No, and that's where I'm at. And it's cool when I look back, like, it's pretty badass to say at 28, I'm getting better, and I'm getting faster and I'm getting stronger and stuff like that. So I think it's cool. Like I said, as an athlete, as you guys know, whenever you can progress, it's a great feeling. And that's where I'm at now. I truly feel like I'm riding the best I have probably ever. And the experience.
That's amazing.
But
RV, isn't that gnarly, RV? Like, you and I, we're just like, we're so fried and over it, like at 27. And then, like,
you guys want a lot more than me, though. Fuck.
Hey, you know what? You trust the process, bud.
Yeah, you just gotta trust it, brother.
Yeah, no, it is. I like I've said it on the show before, that jealous of guys that made the switches and noticed that they needed to change things up. You were at Star, left Star, went to KTM, and back. So it's good to be able to see and recognize those things that potentially or will make you better. Because I was in that same position, like just kind of over it, burnt,
Yeah, for sure.
I called it instead of, exercising other options.
Yeah. No, and I think it's like you said, it's tough, right? Because as competitors, you win, and that's the ultimate feeling. And I'd be happy going out on top just like that too. But I do think, like I said, for me, this year has been huge because it has been a huge reset. And it was something that, like, I still, when I wake up in the morning now, I'm excited to go to the track again. I'm excited to go training and switch it up. And I was with you guys, we all did that very good but hard program. And it's just one of those things. Like, I've said it forever. It was an amazing time. We had amazing results, but I just needed to have a change mentally, physically, because I was at that position too, where you gave it your all, and you just you have one of the 2 options. And I felt like obviously for me, I had a lot of redemption left in me. I didn't go last year and win the championship. So like I said, it's been a great change, and I'm stoked, to be in this position, but also to be enjoying it is very rare, as you guys know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it is. There's no doubt. Hey, before we let you go, and we appreciate your time, I want you to walk our listeners and people who listen to this podcast and watch it I want you to walk us through the last lap and put your helmet on and say like, okay, I need to do this right. I got to make sure I do this. Can you do that for us? Because I'm actually curious. Like when you're in this corner, I'm like, okay, shit, I need to do this right, or I need to get a good exit here. Aaron, roll that last lap for him, and Coop, as soon as you go, take it away. Go.
Dude, I can't tell too much. You might have comp watching this, but no, I think
No, I know.
For me, you just got to be mindful of where you could get past. And as you saw there, I switched my line and actually made a little bit of a mistake. But I think it's just kind of you're guarding the insides a little bit tighter than maybe you would. Yeah. I actually didn't know Chase was doing that line, which when I watched back, that was a good line. He could carry a lot of speed, but I think you're just trying to nail your marks, right? It's like being at the end of a run and just that last 10th of a mile, just giving it your everything. And for me, that's kind of how the last lap is, whether you're out front or behind. You don't want to go over the finish knowing that you didn't give every piece of energy that you could. And then the last turn, I went inside just to make sure that there was no possible way. So I think that's it, just trying to mentally lock in, but just go, all right, this is the last hoorah, give it. If I have to puke over the finish, that's what we got to do, but just giving everything you got.
Dude, how pumped. Hey, you said something on the podium. Like, were you pissed after you got that? You did really well in the whoops the last lap. Were you like, why didn't I do this the whole race? Like, it would have been like the result would have been not easier, but
I mean, it's
sucks
tough, like
when that dude, that sucks so bad when that happens, huh?
Yeah, it does. You live and learn though, and that's where I've always, it's no secret, the jumping thing works for me really well, and I was trying it, and I saw the guys catching me, and it's one of those things where you're like, man, I haven't done it yet in the main. Do I switch to it, or do I give up a few tenths to know that I can do this every lap? That was kind of my mindset behind it, but then when I did it, I'm like, damn it, idiot. You should have just skimmed the whole time.
Idiot move. You did idiot move.
Idiot.
You didn't even want to explore a different line.
I know. I should have trusted me and Jeannie been grinding, and I should have.
Oh. I'm glad she's on your tail and not mine, dude. Jeez. Jeez. I'm telling you. Hey, Nashville this weekend. I know you like that place. We can talk about next year, but I'm pumped, obviously, to watch you guys. But dude, I'm stoked for the Showdown. We talked about you watching the 250s earlier. Like, are you pumped? Are you pumped to see?
I am, man. It's always cool. Even as a racer, as a fan, I think it's cool because, as you guys know, in the 450 class, you get a shootout every weekend. But the 250 guys, they're young, they're fired up, they want to be, the bad boys. They want to have that bragging rights. So I think it'll be a really good show, especially with the personalities we have in the 250 class and the riders. I think it'll be actually a really sweet race, and with points being where they're at, it could be a very good night for some people for sure.
Yeah, you were one of those guys who came down to East-West shootout, and you'd come and be a wrecking ball in there.
Yeah. young and dumb and just cocky,
Yeah,
that's right. Nothing wrong with it. Hey, if everything goes as you're hoping it, you need my Venmo so I can send you my cocktail tab for the weekend in Nashville, or what? Just Venmo me.
Come on, guy.
I'm joking with you, dude.
That's the luxury you have. Like you said, you get to sit back in Nashville and
kick
your feet up.
RV's wore out from being at MotoGP. He's got his restrictor plate on today. Trust me, this guy's got it better than this guy's got.
Hey, Austin will get you. Austin will get you, man.
I can see he's been muffled today. And so, hey, great job this year. Thanks for coming on, dude. I know how precious how precious your time is, and days off, and the championship grind, and I'm sure our viewers and listeners will really enjoy your insight and just our candidness today. And appreciate it, buddy. Good luck in Nashville.
No worries, guys. Appreciate it, and always fun talking. And see ya around Tally, RC.
Yeah, guy. If you need it, hey, everywhere I go now, you're like the mayor of the town. They're like, dude, who's that Cooper Webb guy? Who's this Cooper
Dude,
Webb guy?
I walk
coming
into
in
the
here?
restaurants. You got your gold chair, your red carpet.
No, this guy.
The goat sighting everywhere.
No, come on. Dude, everywhere I go now, RV, they're like, hey, you know that guy Cooper Webb? He lives here now. I'm like, yeah, I know him. Dude, the guy is unbelievable.
Hey, I still get your hand-me-downs though. Everyone asks me, "Oh, do you train at Ricky's?" Yeah, I do.
Roots run deep and tally,
Yeah.
bro.
For
All
sure,
right,
guys.
Coop, get back to it, brothers. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Coop.
That was awesome. Thanks again, Coop. Heck of a job. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully our viewers and listeners loved that podcast. That was good. That was good. That's some great insight. And listen, dude, out of respect for him, I'm not gonna go deep in the paint with him on a whole bunch of questions that he probably doesn't want to answer. I want to keep it lighthearted for him. But we appreciate you, Coop. Hey, last segment of that was our Dunlop due diligence segment of the pod, getting Cooper on and asking him those questions. But the last one is our favorite one, second year in running, not our favorite, but one of the best ones. Quad lock case question of the week. The winner is JT Merp 02. In your era, which competitor was the best at getting in their opponent's head and why? You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'll go first. Yeah,
go for it.
I think in my time, and it was only a short time that, but Jason Lawrence was one that was really good at it.
Really,
Jason Lawrence? Yeah, I remember with him and Dunge, like he could get into dudes.
I thought like I was thinking your head.
Oh
like,
yeah, they're okay. If you're asking me, he was. I thought the question was referring to just who was good at that game in general.
Oh, maybe it is. So okay, maybe
yeah. So
it is.
Jason, that was he was really good at it. Lawrence was one of the best at it. But for me, I would say,
Jason Lawrence. I was thinking of got it.
Yeah. So
yes.
I would say, I don't know, between Chad and James.
For me, it's Chad, hands down, over James. And the reason that I say that is because Chad, in my time, I don't know how he was in your time, RV. So, and you can explain it, but he didn't even play games where it was frustrating is just how, like, when you thought, okay, I have him covered tonight, then all of a sudden he just is just all up your rear end and threatening you for the win. And it just used to work on me a little bit, and it was so frustrating. And he was just, he was consistent. You knew exactly what he was going to get for the most part. And he was one of the toughest competitors. And he was so good, I feel like, at talking himself into winning. And you've explained that, like, about Dungey a little bit, like, don't give that guy an inch.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, outside of that, I think there wasn't really any guys that got into others' heads. I mean, no one like J Law or it was different. I think before my generation, though, I think there were mind games being played with, like, Fro. He would show up all black gear at Troy, Ohio. Maybe MC would play around in the mental game. But man, I don't, other than like someone purposefully doing something mentally to get in anyone's head. Not really.
That doesn't really happen that much. Like, it's very odd few. Like in mine, it was Jason. And dude, he won a championship out of it. He was able to rattle a cage enough to, and it was up against Dungey. And he was ended up working, but it doesn't work long term. That's for sure. Because eventually you're gonna be somebody it doesn't work on.
No, it doesn't. And at the end of the day, and I've always said this because people, I'm sure, have said, "Oh, RV tried to play head. You were playing head games with this dude." Like, no, I wasn't. I promise. At the end of the day, you want to mess with someone's mind, you go out and win.
That
you
and
can
I
play.
think you play mind games with them by, at the 22-minute mark, 25-minute mark, where they might drop half a second and you, not to say even went any faster, but just sustained it, or maybe threw in there with 1 or 2 laps to go, like the fastest lap of the race. That right there is mind games, and that comes from like putting the work in, because that was, I think, obviously coming up through, you're the one that really kind of started this whole trend of like I don't want to say real athlete, but it became physically as demanding off the motorcycle. Like, before, guys just used to ride a lot. Yeah, there was some that trained, like Wardy. I'm not taking all the guys out of the mix, but we're so much more educated now. And you kind of started that, and then obviously
Progression, yeah,
the progression. That's when it really started, and everybody had to get on board if they wanted to be lined up on the gate.
Hell, honestly, had I not done it, I was just trying to find ways to beat MC.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, dude, I have to evolve somehow. Otherwise, I'm not going to be the guy to beat him. He probably been 10-time Supercross champ. I mean, he was just that good. I'm like, I have to recreate myself and be better. So yeah, that's a great question. I like that. JT Merp, appreciate that. Slide into the Title 24 Instagram DM. JH will pass you along to Quad Lock. Corey from the SMX track crew. JH said he's getting your Quad Lock stuff for you. He was handling yours personally.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyhow, thank you everybody. Before we go, as always, thanks United Motorsports, Quad Lock Case, Foxborough USA, and Dunlop Tires for all of your support. We appreciate you. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the ride. Remember, you can always check us out on Motorsports on NBC's YouTube page. We're on demand on Peacock. Want to go back and watch some interviews from the past? Eli was a good one. He put on a good interview, so you can go back and check past episodes. So check that out. And then, of course, we're on all of the applications for apps. So give us a listen. But we appreciate you guys. And RV, you've had a hell of a run as far as these last 5 days. I can tell you're tired. I want you to go enjoy your family. Go enjoy those sweet little boys you got there. And we will see you next week.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.